Greetings, dear ones. This is Friday, February 28th. And I realize this is kind of an odd time. Normally, the revolutionary revelations occur at 1 o'clock on Fridays. And I invite you all to join me every Friday. We may be moving to a new venue or platform where we can have a little more interaction. Your questions, your comments, your observations, the energetics that you're encountering are so vital to this whole process, and certainly to the energetics that are created in this crucible, this container. And that's really what I'm inviting everyone to do by joining me in the upcoming course, 4-month course, 4-month class, 4-month group of gatherings, whatever you want to look at it as. But it is creation. We are shape shifting individually, we are shape shifting our world, we are shape shifting society, we are shape shifting the world, we are shape shifting the universe. And you are a vital, significant, purposeful, important part of all of that. If you have worked with me in the past, either individually or in groups, you know that it is very interactive and very in the moment. So, what you are bringing to the container each and every time is really, really powerful, especially when we gather in a group together. So that's going to be starting soon. Please call me, write me, DM me for details, or actually just, if you want to register. Each session, there's going to be, the first section is 3 20-minute mini one-on-one sessions where we can do a read of what's going on with you, where we can do a little bit of clarification or ahas, or just some direct assistance and guidance for bringing forward your own intuitive abilities, or to sharpen them or to hone them, and or maybe just a very specific energetic that you need in that moment, some energetic healing that will then allow you to participate even more deeply in the second section, which is a group drop-in. So I'm sorry, third section. Second section is going to be more of an update, an energetic update in relation to what's going on out in the world. Much like these, but a little bit shorter, of course. And then the third section, we're all going to bring those energetics together and drop into a creation practice that is not focused on any one thing. It's not focused on the correction or the healing or the a specific outcome in any way to what may be going on, but more so what it is that you want to create in your life, what it is that how you want to live in this world, how you want this world to be. Because surprisingly, each and everyone's cosmic order can be put into the large container of this universe and still be addressed and answered, even though it may differ from the person next to you or person on the other side of the world. So it's an alchemical process. It's far beyond human comprehension, but you can feel into it and you can experience it in these gatherings, because many have before. So please do so. And also, you all know that the focus always from the perspective of this work, my practice, everything that I write, teach, etc., is that the world changes. We actually, when we transform, transmute our peace, then you're actually evolving the world. And that's not just a platitude. When we can go deep enough, it is literally changing your DNA. So then the DNA of the species is thereby modified, and that's true epigenetics. And I've seen it happen for decades at this point. So it can be done. You can talk to some of my former clients if they so choose, to see how that's manifested in their life and how it's playing out in their life and how they are playing in their life. So please, just if you really want to do some work, I am modifying structuring of my practice so that we can do one-off intensives, rather than a whole series or a whole series. So please reach out. This is very accelerated work. A great deal can happen in a very short period of time. So, on to today's subject. It's been certainly a very wild and woolly week, and there is much destructiveness going on around the world, but primarily here in the United States, with to individuals, to groups of individuals, to our government, to our social structures, to our way of life, to our philosophy, to our democracy, for sure. And and it is all true, and there has been a great deal of pain, and there will continue to be, and perhaps a great deal more before this deconstruction, dismantling is over. And that's why I emphasize always when I'm working with a client, we are deconstructing, we are dismantling old patterns, but at the same time, energetically and otherwise, we are building anew. And that's what is occurring on the underpinnings, or the below the reality that we're sitting in. It is occurring. So when we're looking at the dark that is occurring right now, the destructiveness, the harm, pain, etc., etc., there is absolutely the need for activism, for taking actions, for speaking out, for speaking up. It's going to happen more and more. Today there was an adjustment made to our Department of Education, wherein there is now a structuring for students, teachers, etc., to surveil others and call them out if they see any forms of DEI, which is the opposite of the purpose of that, and is very much looking like the youth, Nazi youth movement from many years ago, and history is, of course, repeating itself. And all of that is going on, and it's true, and I'm finding friends, colleagues, clients just, brought to their knees with distress and fear, etc. Myself included. There are moments when, it's such a huge wave. I, as a human, feel that wave and are swept up in it for a while until I drop down deeper. And that's what we're going to do today, and that's what's been the theme this week. We have so much literal existential fear, whether it's finances, whether it's, I have clients that are worried about losing their home, I have clients worried about losing their health care, and yet I have others who have moved kind of through those deeper low chakra issues and are not in that same level of existential threat, or feeling that same level of existential threat. And you all know how I feel about spiritual bypass, or intellectual bypass, or even energetic bypass, which can be done. But I do also know that unless and until we drop in and through what we are experiencing emotionally, physically, energetically, mentally, and spiritually, and are able to move to the other side, nothing will change. I have, when clients start out, they're kind of, locked down. The defense system is so strong, and they're so unaware of the many different forms and ways in which the defense system works. And then once we begin working and they start experiencing the defense system, and it is a massive system, we're able to move around it, through it, under it, and access those emotions that are being held at bay or held down or held away by that defense system. And once we're able to access those deep emotions and move through them, we get to the other side, which is completely different. I have clients who are living in a completely different reality than when they started work. And their outer reality reflects that. They are not encountering the difficulties and challenges. Yes, everyone has challenges, but they're moving through it in a very, very different way. So it is always about going down and in and through to the other side of that dark. And right now, when we have so much darkness outside in so many ways, on so many levels, coming even from off planet, and that's been going on always. But of course, it feels stronger at this point. And so, what do we do with that? It was very interesting in working with a colleague earlier this week. We were experiencing in our own ways, on our own levels, because we've both worked through tons of things over the decades, individually, and we've been working together for some time at this point. And we, in our own way, are facing certain forms of existential threat individually and on a collective level. And so when we take that in, and at the same time, in both of our individual meditations, there is this larger, wider, deeper experience of the beyond this reality, of the potentials, of the tiniest subatomic particles, and how they can recreate themselves in an instant and make something completely new or different. And when we dropped in this week, or earlier this week, I found myself in this delicious, warm darkness, very much, curled up, like, I often see my kitty Callie, curled up, and you know how they do, they tuck everything inside. And it was so peaceful and so profoundly peaceful, and so very rich in the complete and utter lack of the concept of existential threat did not even exist in there. And interestingly, I'm not sure if I can. I was going to do this on Zoom so that I could share a video with you, and I don't know if I can, but it was a very stumbled onto it, of course. Stumbled meaning led by guidance. And it's a teacher I've worked with over the years. She is a mystic herself, but she has translated many mystics' writings, and they're all available on, the internet, Amazon, what have you. And her name is Mirabai Starr, Starr. One of her expertise is personally in working with classes, students, etc., is in writing and bringing forward our own mystical experiences, our own difficult to word experiences, but more than anything in grief. She's a specialist in grief, in loss, in working with that, in learning from that. And interestingly, she just had a 2 minute video, and I can't even think the last time I saw her or heard her or received an email from her. So this is hypersynchronicity. It's just absolutely beautiful. And in this 2 minute video, which I'll post below, she speaks about the darkness that all the mystics have invited us to drop into. Many of you know of or have experienced a dark night of the soul. And that doesn't mean going through a depression. That can be part of it, but that's not necessarily the same thing. The dark night of the soul has been described by so many different disciplines, different professions, different professionals. Again, the mystics, all of the great philosophers, teachers, spiritual gurus over time have spoken of this darkness that one must, that one experiences, and then one must sit in very deeply or drop into very deeply. And so she's emphasizing that. And one of the mystics that she translated and has, I believe, at least one book, possibly two, is John of the Cross, an amazing mystic who lived, I think it was 1500s, 1600s, and the life, he was a priest and wrote and led monasteries, and then they imprisoned him. The Pope changed, didn't like what he was saying, thought he was a rebel and a revolutionary for what he was teaching, and threw him into a cell in which I believe he was there at least 10 years, possibly much longer. I'm not remembering the number. But this cell was extremely, the walls were just complete solid walls. He was unable to lay down lengthwise. It was purposefully made that small. The only light that he received was about 15, 20 feet above him from the top of the cell, and lived that way for many, many years, and deepened into the most profound human experience of the divine, of connection to that which is beyond. And so he speaks about this, and that we must surrender into this darkness. Now, this is very, very different from surrendering to darkness, i.e., what's going on in the world and the wrong and the harm that is being done to our friends, neighbors, family, etc. That's where the standing up, speaking your truth, not allowing this activism, whether it's today we're experiencing across the country, and I can't wait to find out what the results are. But this is a buy nothing day. And there probably are going to be many more and many variations on that. If you've been listening to me for any length of time or reading my writings, you know I speak about boycott, I speak about marches, I speak about sit-ins, lie-ins, which just occurred in Washington the other day by U.S. aid workers. And yes, last night, even if you are watching any of my posts, Gandhi happened to be on, the movie Gandhi, because the channel TCM does all month long Oscar winners, and this is the one that they chose. Very interestingly, right now it came up, and I posted a couple of short little videos, and one of them where a small group ended up being hundreds and then thousands, and it turned into millions, and eventually India became independent of the many years of British rule. So it can be done and it must be done. But that is very, very different than experiencing your own level of um, existential fear and sadness and grief and anger, all that's going on. And I encourage you to do so. If you don't have the whatever the call to come and work with me individually, there's many different methods that you can use to at least start moving some of those feelings. Not just sitting and making them nice, because they're not. And this surrender to the purity of darkness is something quite different. And that's what we're going to drop into right now, because the transmission this week, or rather my experience this week for the transmission today, is what I want you to feel: the deliciousness of pure darkness. There's many different ways that we can experience that. Everything from, the cocoon to the womb to, darkness in space. And this is very full. It's very surrounding. So we're going to be dropping in right now. I'd like you to kind of get yourself settled and start to find your sits bones as we're dropping in. And yes, I encourage you to let go of any thoughts about or perceptions or learnings about what is dark at the moment. And just feel your body. Just experience what is going on as I'm transmitting, and as all of the helpers that we have here on a regular basis, and those that are joining, at this point in time for this particular collective consciousness theme of existential threat and the deeper level of purity in dark, or a pure darkness that can allow for that comfort and peace and something beyond words. So I think that's all I want. The only other thing that was brought across my desk was a conversation this morning between Greg Braden and Nassim Haramein. Nassim Haramein is a physicist I've been following for many, many years. His work is very interesting. He was shunned by the community for a long time, the physics community, because his theories and his ideas were so kind of, to them, outlandish. And now there are studies and information proving some of the things that he posited. So in this conversation, they actually were talking about empty space, and that's empty space that we feel is, or that many have labeled as dark energy out in the universe, and that space of the atom, which is 99.999999999% space in an atom. And in that space, there is emptiness, there is darkness, for the electrons and the nuclei are in a form of light, so to speak, energy. And what was said was that what we're accessing now scientifically is that the energy in that dark place, that dark space, whether out in the universe or within an atom, is insanely powerful. That according to mathematics, etc., what's showing now is that one, I don't remember how many centimeters, it's basically the size of a sugar cube. The energy within that space in a size of a sugar cube could literally run everything and more on this planet for millions of years. Not hundreds, not thousands, millions of years. And that's where, if any of you are familiar with Star Trek and some of the cutting edge engineering right now, that they're looking at warp drive, moving through time and space. It's mind-boggling. And so I encourage you in every way possible to support science. We have a tax on our National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, education, the NIH, studies, research, etc. There has been throughout history attacks and attempts to suppress and shut down science from just about the very beginning, ancient Greece, just beyond that. So we cannot and must not let that happen. It will not happen. It cannot happen. There is too much science out there. But it can be curtailed and it can be slowed down, unless and until we, again, stand up, speak out, require, demand, take action for us to not go backwards in time, in history, repeating history. So, I've spoken many times about cutting edge engineering, technology, science breakthroughs, physics, astronomy, archaeology, geology. It's happening every single day. There's more information that is literally blowing all textbooks that we've had up until now out of the water. So it's there. I want you to really feel this. It's not a question of hope, that things get better. It's not a question of airy-fairy believing that it'll all be fine. This is literally in our hands right now, is the moving forward into the world we want to live in, or going backwards and repeating. And you get to decide. You get to choose. No matter how our freedoms and our rights are being attacked. As I said today when I was posting about the Buy Nothing event, and you've heard me say it many times before, the top of the pyramid will fall as the base widens. It is just so. So, as dark as it looks, let us go into a purity of darkness here and now, and feel the potentials in there. Feel the unmanifested, unphysicalized potentials, and the warmth and comfort and security. Security isn't even, again, a concept and an issue in the level of pure darkness that I'm referring to. And again, this isn't evil. This is a different form of darkness, and again, full of energy, full of potential. So I invite you now to just really settle in your chair or on the couch or floor, whatever you may be sitting on. And as always, I invite you to find your sits bones. You can feel them if you just rock back and forth a little bit. Sometimes moving some tissue out of the way allows you to find them and sit on them. Our structure, our bone structure, is designed in such a way that when we are sitting on those sits bones, we do not fall forward, we do not fall backwards, we are supported. That then allows your spine to straighten up just a little bit maybe roll your shoulders back, allow your shoulder blades to come together a little, and that supports the bones that are supporting you so that you don't have to focus actually on sitting, because many of us do. We effort in sitting every day rather than allowing the chair or the couch to hold us up. And our amazing, beautiful bodies. And I invite you to say to yourself or out loud, I am asking and I am allowing my body. I am asking and I am allowing my energy field. I am asking and I am allowing my wider self, which is your soul self. I am asking and I am allowing my guides, teachers, masters, angels. I am asking and I am allowing my emotional body all to join me here and now, assisting me to drop in deeply to me. And your body, your energy field, your wider self absolutely knows how to do this without your brain engaged at all. Your energy field has been doing this forever. Your wider self has been doing it for lifetimes, so many lifetimes. And even though you may have been trained or have experience with working through the third eye, I encourage you to just ask that third eye in your frontal lobe to have a seat in the back of the car, that it not drive, that it not hold the steering wheel this time, but instead enabling all your body, your energy field, your wider self, your emotional body, your guides and teachers and masters, and all of those that are here joining us. The animal teacher that has been showing up this week is Bat, who thrives in darkness, who lives and hunts and exists for the most part in darkness, is an expert in dark. And yet for many indigenous cultures, it also symbolizes birth or rebirth, as it hangs upside down, symbolizing the way a baby comes into this world. And yes, the teachings and all of the work of Mirabai Starr through her beautiful translations of many of the mystics and her exceptional work with grief and loss. For many of you are feeling or have been feeling this as well. As always, We are sitting deeply within the sacred geometrics of all the different factors this week, both those that are working towards creation and those that are working towards destruction, for both must be in the mix in order to create anew, in order to not negate any part of us, human or beyond human. For those large souls that are here at this time, have experienced both sides of that spectrum, cannot be here as a great creator, leader, spiritual seeker, working on mastery level, unless you have also experienced being the destructor. For as an individual expression or individuated piece of the divine, you have explored, discovered, experienced countless ways and forms of both ends of the spectrum. If you are here now on a profound soul path, you are bringing all of that and more to bear. So allowing yourself now to drop down and in you even further. There is no effort, there is no push, there is no goal, there is no focus, there is no work, there is no do in that. Your system knows exactly how to help you feel you. And as we drop to the first level inside the physical body, wherein the complex, sophisticated workings of these magnificent vessels occurs in the dark. Our inner body, for the most part, is dark. Yes, friction, movement, infrared. These are all, yes, forms of light within the body as well. And even biophotons. As emitters and transmitters within the cell. But I invite you to relish and experience and allow the dark within your body to show you and teach you the mystery the potential we have the ability within to heal anything physically in the human body. Again, amazing author Greg Braden, Bruce Lipton, so many other teachers. Not just words, but evidence-based facts. Allow yourself to drop into that richness of the darkness within your body. And as you keep allowing, which means no visual, no mental, no third eye directed, simply allowing, as you drop even deeper the masters of the dark universe have appeared. Divine mystery itself is here. Allow, drop even deeper. You might even feel yourself energetically curling inward, and if you don't, no worries. There is no one way. It is your way that matters. But we're beginning to move towards that encompassing, encircling, enwrapping much like the womb. the cocoon, the caves and burrows from which many animals are just beginning to move out of, but have been held and cushioned throughout the winter. We're going to go another level deeper. Nothing you need do. As that purity of utter dark feel the softness, the warmth, that go far beyond a physical experience. For it is your very being encircled, enwrapped, enveloped in this pure, pure life-filled dark. Filled with trust, with faith that goes beyond the human concept. Secure and safe in its purity. Existence itself. system to imbibe, again, nothing you need do, nothing you can do, nothing you must do, no do at all. Simply allow, simply feel, simply sensate, simply experience. And another sip or two, for this is very deep, intense, powerful energetics. That you may slip into as you sleep tonight. But for now, I'm going to invite you to, again, allow your system its way, its rhythm, its pace, its form of moving from a less physical back to a more physical experience, reality. And again, in your own timing, but I encourage you very definitely to drink a good deal of water for many different reasons. With all that's going on and all that you're taking in from the events in the world, your system needs dehydration, or needs hydration to counteract that, needs to flush your toxins and any more toxins that come in. So, and now with a practice such as this, you want to increase your water even more over the next day or two, because a lot was moved that was very, very deep and intense. And in that experience, there now sits innumerable potentials. The birthing forth, the purity of mystery, and the surrender into the deepest internal and external dark, and by that I mean the dark out in space, the dark of divine mystery, etc. I'm not referring to the harmful, destructive. So, dear ones, thank you again for being here, and please look on YouTube. I'll post this a little bit later. If you missed any parts of it and would like to experience it again, or just hop to the energetics. Actually, what I'm hearing is, if you did experience this live, I would really encourage you to wait 24 to 48 hours before listening again. It was that full. So please enjoy. Let me know of your, please comment here or on YouTube what your experience was like, any questions. I'm always here for that. And as always, it is with the deepest of honor gratitude and love for your presence here on the planet. Until next time, be well.